Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Jay, and this is Football Talk. And in this one, I will be reacting to the NFL license might not be exclusive much longer. Ooh, I was super excited when I saw this notification appear on my phone, and I have to watch this because this is like getting to the nit and gritty and things. I really hope my mic is working. By the way, guys, I have no idea what's going on with OBS or my mic or what's going on, but hopefully this is all working and y'all can hear me because I do not want to. It's a 20-minute video. I'm trying to get it out today, okay? Just letting you guys know the behind the scenes stuff. I'm trying to get it out today. I don't know what's going on with OBS. Hopefully y'all can hear me. But without further ado, let's jump right into this one.
We've got some big news to talk about today as it pertains to the exclusive NFL simulation license that EA holds. Now, I'm sure as many of you know, for the last 20 years, EA has been the only video game company that has been allowed to make a simulation NFL game. Now, there was a pretty big report recently that this license could potentially be opening up, so we're going to talk about
Oh
that
yeah,
in this video,
I
talk
do
about what to
remember
expect,
like
and what the
seeing the
possibilities
headline.
actually are. Now, if you're new to the channel and you don't want to miss out on any of the ongoing updates with this because it's going to probably carry out for a while, or if you don't want to miss out on updates surrounding other games like Madden, college football, and the upcoming NFL 2K arcade game, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you never miss any of these important videos. We just hit 604K. You guys have been supporting like crazy, and I'd like to hit
Congratulations,
700K
man. You
before the end of
deserve
the
it.
year. So if you're new, join the family, stay up to date, and I really appreciate all the support you guys have been showing. So let's break down this article that dropped recently. I was going to cover this sooner, but with the release of college football and then also the release of Madden, there were just too many other videos that I had to get out. But now that a
It's
lot of
been a
that has
lot.
been
It's
way
been a
ahead of
lot this
time
year,
to now
man.
talk about this very
The
important
best time to
development. Now,
play
the person
football
who
is
broke
now.
this story is Mike Straw from Insider Gaming, and as many of you that have been around my channel for years know, this guy usually is pretty in the know when it comes to leaks and exclusive. He's leaked stuff for Madden and other games throughout the years, and recently he brought us this big banger of an exclusive where he said EA and the NFL are negotiating the license extension for Madden NFL. And it says here, for nearly 20 years when it comes to simulation football games, there is only one option, EA Sports and Madden NFL. EA has had an exclusive license agreement with the NFL since December of 2004, making the Madden franchise the sole game in town. Sure, there have been other football games since then, but nothing like what was around in the early 2000s when fans had games like NFL Fever and NFL 2K as alternatives to Madden. But now, as the exclusive contract between EA and the NFL gets close to the end of the current agreement, many have been wondering whether that's about to change. The current deal was signed as an extension back in 2020 for $1.5 billion,
God
and it goes through the
damn.
2025 season. There is an option to extend it by a year through 2026 if target revenue was hit, and by all estimations that target has been. So what we're looking at is a contract that expires in 2 years. That 2-year window is the same point in time when EA and the NFL announced their last extension of the Madden license. So where are we on the current one? Now, it says here that talks are ongoing. Sources have indicated to Insider Gaming that discussions between EA and the NFL have been ongoing regarding the future of the game and the license. It said that talks began later than in the past for a variety of reasons, including concern from the league if remaining exclusive with one company was the best option. The league has been well aware of public reception to the franchise the past few years, and one thing they don't like is when the Shield is viewed in any sort of negative light. That meant that there was added
Yeah,
pressure from not only
that's
within
true.
EA to deliver, but from the NFL as well. After the issues that plagued Madden 23, last year's Madden 24 was viewed as a make or break game from all aspects, and it says here the game ultimately exceeded all expectations in terms of both revenue and player base. Through July 2024,
Before he continues to read all these damn videos on YouTube, Madden is dead. No one's going Madden. No one buys Madden. No one does this. Stop the bullshit, man. People that watch YouTube videos about this are the ones that's like right here. If you draw a circle of the people that actually watch the YouTube videos and then complain about these different things in Madden, I bet you it's probably less than 2%. It's probably less than about 2%. I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't have any detail. I'm just saying we are the small piece of the pie. People on YouTube are the small piece of the pie. And when we start to understand that, you will start to see less and less videos talking about, oh, this is the worst Madden. No one's gonna play it. No, average people do not care. They get home from work and they play Madden or well now college football. They don't care. It's not an issue. We make it a big issue, but it's not really an issue. That's the only thing. That's one thing I don't like about the internet, man.
for
Especially
months
Now
after the
this
game's release, Madden 24 remained a top 10 game on both Xbox and PlayStation in weekly
top
average viewers.
10.
While Madden Ultimate Team is a big reason for that, the
Stop
internal belief is that if
playing.
the game wasn't good at all, people would have left by then. Now, let me interject here for a second, because when they said it was a make or break game, that still is a report that came from Insider Gaming themselves. EA never publicly said that. The NFL never publicly said that. So we do have to take that with a
Yeah, that
little bit of
is
a grain of
true.
salt. I do trust Insider Gaming and Mike Straw in particular, but
I
I'm just
trust
saying
it,
that
but
EA and the
I'm
NFL
not
never came
100%
forward and
trusting it.
said that they viewed the game as
I
make
don't
or break. Now, in
100%
terms of the
nothing
game
from
exceeding
leaks.
expectations, it just depends who you ask. A lot of people online that are very passionate about the exclusive license and the state of Madden games will say that it didn't exceed expectations. But when you look at it from revenue, which is an easy thing to exceed because it is the only NFL game, a lot of casual fans are going to buy it regardless. One thing that they do look at is the weekly average viewers, and I do kind of agree to an
Yeah, that
extent.
is
If people thought
incredible.
the game was downright awful, I don't think they'd still be playing it heavily 10 and 11
100%.
months into the cycle when the new
You
game is
damn
about
sure
to come
wouldn't.
out. But
How
it seems
many
like the
dead
last
games
couple of
have we
years from the
seen?
numbers, they've seen a lot of the weekly average users go up and up later into the year. And yes, again, Ultimate Team is definitely a big part of that, but it still looks good for them and for the NFL when they're looking at the numbers. Now, I know some people here think that I don't want NFL 2K to return, and we'll talk about the possibilities of that in a minute. I know a lot of people
I
think
never
I'm
played
paid
it,
by
but
EA,
I've
which
heard so
I'm
many
not. If I
people
was,
say,
I
"Oh
would
my
have to
goodness, it's
disclose that.
years
I would go
ahead
as
of
far as to say,
Madden
in terms
now."
of content creators, I don't think many people would stand to benefit more from the return of NFL 2K than myself because of how my channel is when it comes to news and breaking down games. This has been the most successful year of my channel because of the return of college football. Having more football games to break
Facts.
down and deliver news on would only be a good thing for me, and it would obviously be a good thing for players because you get
Yeah, I don't
competition and you get
see.
more options. So
I've
I'm all
seen people
for the return of
comment that, and
competition
I'm
if
like,
that
"What?
were to
What are
actually
you talking
happen,
about?"
but I know some people still think that I'm paid and I don't actually want that to happen. Look, if I was paid, I would have to disclose that. That is the law. If I
Thank you. The amount of people I have seen, like on his, well, not really on his comments, like not every video, of course, but I have, or people that have reacted to his videos have always said, "Oh, he's like, people that maybe not like his content or just don't like Madden in general," because that's a cool thing to be. If you're a Madden hater, that you're in the cool club. Everybody's a Madden hater. You're not a Madden hater. You're paid. EA paid you. Oh, you just a fanboy. No, just like the game. I don't know why it's so hard for somebody that's on the internet, like myself, to like a game. Wow. Oh my, put me in jail. Oh my God, I like Madden. Wow. No, it's not that. I just like playing it, okay? I have enjoyment playing it. I'm not an online player, so I play offline things, but like I just don't get that.
I was
I don't
sponsored, it would sound something like this. Today's video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. If you like sports and you
like
like
that
winning money,
segue.
then you've got to be on
Shout down the dog.
ARAY. They'll give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash at sign up, and you just cannot beat that. Now let's continue on in the article here. It says, how confident is EA? And when they spoke about going back to the contract discussions, many who spoke on the subject who remained anonymous for obvious reasons say that they believe an agreement on a new contract will come within the next 12 to 18 months, meaning we're probably at least a year away
Okay.
from knowing what's going to happen. Now, one of the sources said, we have no reason to believe we still won't have the exclusive license. Another source said, at the end of the day, Madden is making more and more money each year for both EA and the NFL. The sales continue to
That
go
is
up, and it
true.
would be crazy to not have the deal continue. Of course, there is the idea that Madden's numbers are only what they are because of the exclusive license. Fans who want to play as their favorite NFL team or
I
player
don't
really have
know.
no other choice if they want a realistic game, which is true. Both of these things hold
It
true. It's still
could
a
it could
game,
be
so it's
right,
going to sell well regardless. No matter how many people say that they don't want to get the game this year or they're going to boycott it
and they
or they're
always
done with
buy it.
Madden, the NFL is too big of an entity for Madden to fail. If it is the only NFL game, it is going to do good numbers regardless. But the thing that is intriguing about this is that the sales numbers lately have been going up. And you would think if the game was being viewed
It's
as bad as it
crazy.
is online, at least when you look at the reviews, usually it gets mediocre reviews
See,
and the
that
user
that
scores are
just
always
lets you know
low. And you always
online
have a
is not
ton of people
is
on different
nothing.
forums or on YouTube saying how much they don't like the game. So you would think the sales would be maybe stagnant if anything, but the fact that they keep going up, I think maybe is just a testament to the fact that the NFL is growing every year. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's growing outside of the country, which is a big thing. And you also have more
Huge
kids
thing.
coming in every year that don't even know anything
Yeah.
else ever existed. All they know is Madden, so they don't view it the same way that somebody that grew up in the PS2 era would view it. And so when you look at it from a money standpoint, you
I
can
don't
see
even think
why
I
the
played
NFL
Madden
does continue
PS2.
to re-up with EA, because if the sales keep going up and the users keep going up, yeah, they do see some of the backlash as well, but they also see that everything else is moving in the direction that they
You
like.
get
So it
five
makes it
people
kind of
angry,
hard to take the
and it's
deal off the
1,000 people
table,
that
I
don't
guess you could
care.
say. Now,
Which one you
continuing
gonna
on
take?
here in the article, it says every source who spoke was adamant, though, that the developers care about what the players want. They aren't just trying to get by with each game. They're actively doing what they can in the time that they have between releases. And one of the sources said, we honestly do want the players to love the game each year. We know we aren't going to make everyone happy, but our goal with each game is to make it better than the last and have more people enjoy it than the year before. People can believe what they want, but we really do care about the game we are putting out there. And let me just interject here,
I
because
like that statement.
is true. And I think if you go back the last 4 years and you look at it objectively, even though the game has been far from perfect and it has its issues every single year, that's really the case with a lot of games, and definitely sports games. They all have their issues. But when you go back to Madden 21 and you compare old gen versus what we have now,
Yeah,
when
it
you look at the
is
gameplay, when you
night
look at
and
what
day.
franchise mode was versus what it is now, you can see over the last few years they have made the effort to make the game better. I think the issue for a lot of people is that they feel like it's too little too late, because they went a whole generation without doing much for franchise, without adding some of those gameplay features that people wanted, and that's definitely what happened. And now that they're trying to make up for that lost time, there's new leadership, there's new people in charge of franchise and things like that. They're trying to bring things back more so to the glory days, but a lot of people just feel like it's too little too late, which I understand. If you were waiting too long for this, sometimes for certain people,
Yeah,
now
it's
it doesn't matter what you
understandable,
do, they don't
but
want it. But I think if you go back to
that
21,
amount
when the
of
fixed Madden
criticism it
franchise
have you
backlash
thinking
popped up, and you
Madden
compare not only
hasn't
franchise, but you
sold a
compare
single
gameplay
copy.
and other things, you can see that it's come quite a ways in the last 4 years. But it still has
A
a ways to
huge
go,
way.
and many believe that if they didn't remain stagnant for so many years that they did, that we'd be much further along right now. So I definitely see both sides of that argument. But also says here, as far as the possibility of losing the exclusive rights to allow more simulation games from competitors, Insider Gaming was told it's not impossible, but there's honestly no way someone else could compete with us for the rest of this generation and possibly into the next one, due to the timing of the deal and
That
how
is
long it
definitely
takes to make
true.
a game like this. We're not worried. Now let me interject again, because this is going to sound like whoever said this is on their high horse and they're talking a little smack, but really it's true, and that's only because of how long it takes to make a game. Let's say that they open the license back up.
100%.
If a company wants to make a game, you're probably looking minimum 3.5 to 4 years to get
Yeah,
a
that's
game
and
out, which means we'll
that's on
already
a
be a
good
couple
day.
years into next gen. And then once you put a game out, the first game back isn't going to have every last thing you want in it. You're going to have to continue building that out for years and years. So yeah, in order to compete with Madden, you're looking at probably, a 6, 7, 8-year process, because half of that is just in making a game and getting it out. And also you have to realize in that time frame, EA would know a game is coming, and this would be good for us. They would have to probably put even more effort into the game, knowing that another game is on the horizon. So by the time, another company would put a game out, Madden would also be much further along than it is now. And whoever put that game out would have to continue building it for a few years to add everything that people would want. Look at what happened with college football. That
I
game
was
took
just about to
almost
say
4
that
years to get put
college
out,
football
and they had a starting point. They had an entire animation library from Madden to start. They didn't have to go out
took
and
a
motion
minute,
capture tens of thousands
like
of new
well
animations. They
years.
already had a bunch to start with. They already had an engine to start with. They had a jumping off point.
And
Even
I
though they
think that's
built a
one of the
lot of it
biggest
from the
things too.
ground
They
up,
had an
they didn't have to
engine to
start
work with.
completely from zero. And it still took them 4 years to get the game out. And as we can see, while College Football 25 does have some new things to it, especially on the gameplay side that's different from the last NCAA game, which was 14, there's also still a number of things in 14 that aren't in College Football 25 yet. And that's because NCAA 14 is the culmination of a decade plus of building a game. College Football 25 is a game that was in development for like 3.5 years. And so in order to develop a game from the ground up pretty much for 3.5 years, you can't add a bunch of new things and also every last thing you had in the old game either. Some stuff's going to be left on the chopping block to come in the year or two after that, because it just takes a lot of time to build these games these days. So I don't think this is really like a flex or them saying something crazy. I think it's just true. It would take a while to compete just because of the time it would take to actually build out the game that people would ultimately want. Now, would a company even be interested in competing? This is something that is actually pretty interesting in
That's
my
a good
opinion, because for years
question.
I've heard from people inside the industry that no other company even has the desire to do it. Not even 2K. That's what I heard for years. Now, things can always change. That happens all the time. But I do find it interesting that 2K didn't even consider making a college football game once the NIL stuff went into effect and we knew that players could
I
be
didn't
paid
even
now.
think
They
about
didn't even
that.
consider making a game. And we
That's
saw the
yeah,
hype and the
that is
demand for that
true.
game. That's a game that they could have potentially got to the market at a similar time as EA. They wouldn't have had the jumping off point that EA had, but they probably could have got it out not
And
too
the
far
hype was
behind them. And they
already
didn't even
there.
have interest in doing that, which I find kind of interesting because that was a big market that they could have tried to get in and compete very early on. Now, of course, the NFL is a much bigger market. The NFL is much more enticing. I've heard for years that they weren't interested. However, there was a report recently around the time that this article came out that was basically talking about the pipeline of Take-Two's upcoming games, and Take-Two is the parent company of 2K. And in this article, it did say that Take-Two may negotiate with the NFL for a non-exclusive license to challenge Electronic Arts' Madden's
Okay.
dominance. According to the analyst, Take-Two's NFL deal is limited to non-simulation games per 2K label, including the recently launched NFL 2K Playmakers. Take-Two's CEO has
I
suggested
haven't
that
heard too many
arranging a
things
FIFA
about
license is
playmakers
more
anymore.
complex than with the NFL, NBA, or MLB, where current partnerships with leagues and players associations make talks more straightforward. Given Take-Two's expanding portfolio and history of producing compelling NFL simulations, Hickey said that 2K Sports might likely be interested in re-entering the NFL simulation market. Now, all that says is they might be interested. It's not a guarantee, but we do know they're also talking with FIFA, I believe. I don't know if that's confirmed that they're going to be making a FIFA game as well. I think that is something that's possible. So maybe their opinions on things have shifted over the years. Maybe they do want to get back into it.
Could
But I
be.
do think if we saw a competing game, from what I know and from the people I've talked to in the industry, what I've heard is that 2K would likely be the only company that would even take a stab at it. They wouldn't expect Sony or Microsoft or anything else like that. We're never
Yeah,
going to
because
see
that
what we saw in PS2 where you had
think it's because, and this is true for, in my opinion, for a lot of games, especially nowadays. A lot of people want news, but I think these companies realize that back in the day they used to take risks, but those risks right there was very low compared to nowadays. And I'm gonna tell you why it's very low. Because of the reviewers. I think my camera just right back. Because of people value the reviewers on YouTube and all, like, just social media and like in general, you can put out something new, right? And something that people say they want. And then when it gets out there, nobody plays it. Nobody buys it. Nobody talks about it. They talk about it day one. They talk about how good everything is. Then ask them the next week, are they still playing that game? You hear crickets. So I feel like companies now, especially in gaming, they don't want to take that risk because is that reward really that good? We say everybody on YouTube says yes, the reward will speak for itself, but will it though? It's certain games, certain genres that new stuff 100% go skyrocket. But it's certain genres and certain games that's actually better to one step, two step, three step, four step, five step instead of one step, two step. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys understand, but I don't know. It's just all about that company and what they want to do in the long run because you can't look at short term when it comes to gaming. That's just my personal.
4 different NFL games out there, you may notice with other sports games, there's really no competition anymore. And that's because these games are so expensive to make now that if you really can't
Very.
own the whole market, a lot of these companies don't seem to want to make the investment to just have half the market or have 60% of the market because these games just take so much time and money to develop nowadays that it's a big task to do all that and then go compete with another company. Whereas when you look at 2K right now, they own WWE, they own NBA, they have no competition. You look at Sony, they own MLB,
Yeah,
they
that's
have no
true.
competition. You look at EA, they own NFL, they own hockey, they currently own soccer. That one may be changing soon, but soccer is also such a massive
Mm,
market that's one of the markets
huge.
that it would
I
actually make
believe,
sense to
isn't it the
compete in because
biggest
it's such a
like for
global
EA?
game. FIFA or now EAFC just sells so much every year, and then when you add
It's
microtransactions into it, I
crazy
mean, it makes
numbers.
so much money. It's more understandable to have a competitor in that market. The only other game I could see having a competitor really is NFL. I don't even think we'll see that in NBA, and that's if 2K wants to make the game. And another
Yeah,
thing on top
NBA
of this
is
is
probably
that
the least
2K
likely
still has not
one.
even put out their arcade NFL game yet, and this was announced over 4 years ago. They did put out Playmakers, which is the mobile game, but that is not the main console game that they
Yeah,
have
I
been
haven't
working
seen
on. I've heard
anybody
that
talk
they've
about
restarted this
playmakers.
multiple times. I guess they didn't like the concept or how it was turning out. We don't really know what happened, but we know it's been 4 years and they still have not gotten that arcade game to market yet. So that's another example of keep your expectations in check a little bit in terms of timing. If we were to get a competing NFL sim game, it's taken 2K over 4 years to get the arcade game out. If they're going to make a simulation game, it's going to take them a while because not only does it just take a while in general to build a game like this, even if you think Madden is awful, I promise you it takes a lot of time for it to be the way that it is. That's not something you
It's
can just
not
build in
just
1 or 2 years. It's
Control
going to take more
C,
time than
Control
that. And
P.
also 2K's
I mean
reputation in
Control V,
terms of
excuse me.
football games, they can't come back and drop a dud because they still have to put a lot of time and money into this, and they still have to compete. A game like Madden is not going to be taken down in a year or two. The same way NBA Live took a long time for them to
But
get
have
wiped out,
people
and they
say,
never really
oh,
were
it's a
truly as
killer of
focused on
Madden.
Live as they were on games like FIFA and Madden. Those are their flagship games. So I don't think there's any such thing as really wiping out Madden. I think it would just be how it was during Madden 05 and 2K5. I think at its best, you get a 50-50 market, or one company gets 60-65% and the other company gets 40-35%. I think that is what you would see if these two games
But is that
competed, but it would still
40%
take
even worth
time to
it
work up with
nowadays?
that, and you would have to
I
come
mean,
back
back
with your foot in the
then,
door with a banger.
of
You
course.
cannot drop
But
anything
now,
like current NBA 2K, which a lot of people have issues with. Yes, 2K's offline stuff is pretty good, but their online gets probably more backlash than even Madden does for their
that's true.
microtransactions. However, they do have a very deep franchise experience. They do have a really
Yeah, their
deep career
franchise
mode.
mode's
So those are
crazy.
things they would have to come back with in an NFL
Especially
game. But
this
building
year,
stuff
I
like
done
that
seen a
out
couple of
takes a
their
lot of time.
little
Well, at the
clips
end
they
of the day, I'm
showed.
always going to give you the real, what I think is the truth. And I think you should limit your expectations because, number one, many times in the past, we've heard that the deal might get pulled from being exclusive. We heard that a few years ago when they renewed it. We said that 2K was apparently pitching heavy, but EA won them over again. So don't get your hopes up because at the end of the day, no matter what reports are out there or what might happen, we've seen for 20 years that they consistently re-up the exclusive deal. So it's one of those things for me where it's like, hey, if they say that it's going to be open, cool, I'll be excited when that happens. But getting your hopes up now after what we've seen for the last 20 years might just be setting yourself up to get disappointed again. And then the next step with that is, even if it opens up, don't 100% assume another company is going to make a game. 2K, like I said, would probably be the only one, and maybe they would do it, but there's no guarantee right now that they would.
There's
However,
no
the license
guarantee they're
being
gonna have
open,
the
if
money
nothing
to
else,
do it.
would probably put a little bit more of a fire under EA just because of the potential that another company could come along if they were ready. And the
Yeah,
third thing, if the
that would
license
be
gets
true.
opened up, and if a company like 2K says we're coming back, also keep your expectations realistic in terms of when this game is going to come out. You're not going to see it in
Oh yeah,
2027. You're
it's
probably
gonna
not going to
take.
see it in 2028 because if this
It
exclusive
might be
deal
the
gets
end of the
announced that it's
PlayStation
ending,
6
we
era,
probably won't find out about that until the end of
like the last couple of
2025. At
games.
which point 2K then has to still negotiate, and then they have to lay out their timeline for getting a game out. So even if we were to get a competing game, you're probably looking at 2029 at the very earliest for that to even come to fruition. And while that would be great, that's still a little bit of time away. So I just don't want you to think that we're going to be getting a new competing sim game in a year or two because that's just completely unrealistic. And I know some people might be thinking, well, what if they've been working on a game this whole time and instead of working on an arcade game, they're working on a sim game or they're working on both? I mean, sure, anything is possible, but given how much it takes to make these games and also given how much all of these big companies care about their bottom line, I just couldn't see them working on a game that they're not guaranteed to be able to release. That would be a lot of money that is just
A
completely
lot
up
of
in
wasted
smoke
money.
if they were never able to actually put it out. Now, if you do want to know the latest on the upcoming NFL arcade,
I absolutely enjoy this. I'm hoping that people do stumble upon this video, maybe on my reaction, because there was a lot of things that I've seen other YouTubers or other people in the comments like suggest that developers are lazy, this and that. And sometimes a developer can be lazy, but when you say developers are crazy, it's like, come on now. Come on now. That's like saying you're lazy. You got a job, you're working hard, but that's like me coming to you like, nah, you lazy, bro. Like what the heck? So that's how I feel personally. But I absolutely love this. This was probably one of my favorite videos to react to. Like videos like these are always like some of my favorite to react to because I have so much to say. I know I probably talked a lot in this video, but hopefully you guys understood. And if you want to talk in the comments, we can talk in the comments as well. Always open to anything I got wrong or what y'all guys think. Love you guys though. See you guys in the next react.